Hi, I'm Susan Roberti, and welcome to Let's Talk Tail Waggers. We have a very fascinating guest today, and he is going to teach us a lot. But before we get started, I want to say thank you to my cameraman, and I want you to know that you are more than welcome to come up and do a show or learn how to do cameras. We're all volunteers. You'd love it. You really would. This July 4th, which I'm going to brag, this July 4th coming, will be my 21st year at BPTV. And every second and every moment has been a pleasure. And I'm sure if you'd come up and do a show and learn how to do cameras, that's important. There's so many wonderful things up here to do. So always know that you're welcome. And, you can go out on a shoot with us too. So now I'm going to introduce our guest. And your name is, sir?
Bob Fickley.
And your title?
I'm a deputy game warden for the Pennsylvania Game Commission.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing it since 2014.
Wow. And how did you get started?
I had a full-time career in business before. I've always been interested in the outdoors. When I early retired, I had a chance to join the deputy force of the Game Commission, so I went through all the testing and training and all that.
Wow.
And got commissioned back in 2015.
Isn't that amazing that you go from one to another? That's tremendous.
Yeah, always had the interest, so
Yeah.
wanted to do something in my retirement that I thought was really worthwhile.
Yeah. So today, what do you think we should talk about? Deer?
Sure. Talk about whatever you want. Deer is a problem in the suburbs with people losing their flowers and shrubs. Unfortunately, that's not going to end. There's a big deer population, and deer have a lot of food, a lot of reasons to come into the suburbs. We try to get people not to feed the deer. It's detrimental to their health.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say, "Well, I don't feed the deer. I feed the birds with a bird feeder." Well, the birds will kick the seed out, and the deer will just eat the seed off the ground, or sometimes they'll stand up on their hind legs.
Yeah, and tip it out.
Tip it out or lick it out. So I like to feed birds myself. There are some local ordinances in certain communities. I'm not sure if Bethel has one against feeding, but that may be stepped up over the years. But right now there is no state law against feeding. So the deer cause problems, wiping out your shrubs, have a lot of issues with them, running into cars, injured deer.
Yeah.
So you just have to be careful. If you try to limit the food in your yard or your place, that'll reduce the deer coming into your yard.
Yeah. I don't know. I never get mad at them. I live over on Valley View Drive, and I just had my flowers came up, and they were so gorgeous and big and beautiful. And I looked out my dining room window, and there was Mama with her baby chomping away, and never ate them before ever. Why they decided that they were going to eat them, but I don't care. We all have to live together, and don't plant them if you can't give them up.
We gave up planting tulips, so that's just like putting candy out for deer. So
let's say that.
Yeah,
that's true. I do have. They're called trumpets, and they don't like those at all. They're great big white flowers, and for some reason they survive. But any hedges, they'll when they get real hungry in the wintertime, they'll come and eat those.
Yeah, we really don't want you to feed the deer on purpose. That'll affect their digestive systems. Plus, we don't want deer to congregate together that much because there are a couple of diseases that are very serious, and if they pack together, they can spread those diseases really easily.
And what's the name so people know?
Yeah, The biggest one that's getting all the headlines is CWD. It's chronic wasting disease. We do not have any of that in western Pennsylvania. Right now it is over in the south central area, like south of Altoona, kind of up on that I-66 corridor.
Thank God.
Coming up from Maryland. It is a very serious disease. There's no cure. It's deadly disease. It's a deadly disease, and the Game Commission has some programs out trying to contain that. Like I said, we don't have anything like that in western Pennsylvania. We do have EHD, episodic hemorrhage disease, and has had a pretty bad effect last year. It killed a lot of deer in Washington, western Allegheny County, southern Allegheny County. Fortunately, it only shows up about every 5 to 7 years. It's on a cycle.
Wow.
Last year we had the cycle. Hopefully this year we won't have any.
You don't have.
It's caused by a bite from a midge. It's a virus that's transmitted by the midge. Once it bites the deer is dead within a week.
Oh.
But that was last year. Hopefully this season we won't have to deal with that.
Now, what do you do? This might be a dumb question, but being a woman, what if you would hit a deer? What do you do?
Okay, if you hit a deer with your automobile, or if you find one in your yard that's been hit, because sometimes what they'll do is they'll get hit and they'll move off until we find a lot with broken legs, and it ends up in your front yard or something like that. You should really call the Game Commission or call the Bethel Park Police. They will call us. We will come out and assess the situation. Unfortunately, we cannot rehab deer in Pennsylvania, so it is usually not good for the deer, but that's the proper procedure. It is illegal to put them down, by the citizen. The only people that are allowed to do that are your local police, Game Commission, and there's a couple other veterinarian and Fish Commission people. So you can't go out and put it down. It's tough sometimes when you see it suffering. Some guys will want to go out and take care of it, but you have to call either local police or us.
Do you wait till you come, or can you make the call and then leave? Which or is it? What is the protocol?
If you hit one with your car, just tell us where it is. You don't have to wait. Just say I hit a deer on such and such a road. To be safe to say, just call your local police, and then they'll contact us. Sometimes they take care of it. Sometimes they'll refer to us.
Yeah.
But those are the two.
Now the eagles.
Yeah, the bald eagle in Pennsylvania is thriving.
I know.
It's really a very great success story.
I know.
Back in 1980, we had maybe 2 or 3 nests statewide. Most of those are up in the Pymatuming area, up in northwestern Pennsylvania. Now we have about 300 nests across Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're kidding.
So there was certain things that happened to the bald eagle in the Pennsylvania history back in the early 1900s. You could actually hunt them. You could, because they were a threat. They thought they were a threat to livestock. So people would shoot them and shoot an eagle. Well, there was a bunch of laws passed to protect the eagles, but then DDT was the big thing that really decimated the eagle population and hawks and other birds. It weakened their egg shells, so when they laid eggs, it would sit on the egg would break, and then the chick would die. That was banned in 1972. Since 1972, a bunch of things have happened. The banning of DDT, it was listed as an endangered species, and when something is listed on an endangered species, the state has to have a plan to get it off the list. Okay.
Oh.
So what's your plan? Let's say we're going to do this, this, and this. So one of the things the Pennsylvania Game Commission did was they reintroduced eagles from Canada, brought them into Pennsylvania
really?
in about from 1983 to 89, and they try to repopulate the state. We've also, since industry has really waned in Pennsylvania over the years, especially along the river, the steel mills and all
Yeah.
that, have gone. The water quality is a lot better. So, combination of those factors, the water quality, the protection, they really have thrived.
Well, that's what they need is the clean water so they have clean fish.
Right. Their diet is about 80% fish.
Oh, wow.
So they need water. And if you look at a map of all the nests across the state, they really favor water areas. There's a lot on the Allegheny, the Mon, over around Philadelphia, the Schuylkill River, Susquehanna River, up in Crawford County, up in the northwestern part of the
Yeah.
state. Anywhere there's a lake or a river, that's where they like.
Wow.
So all that changed from, say, 1919 until present day. So every year we're getting more and more nests. So we're at about 300 right now. That was the last figure that I saw for 2017. There are probably more. We've heard of a couple new nests over in Beaver County.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's a great success story.
And they're protected.
They are protected. They are not threatened or endangered anymore, but they are protected by federal law and
And why
state
would
law
you
too.
want to shoot one?
Well,
you
at
know?
one time it was there were farmers that they were concerned about losing sheep and
baby
calves and
calves.
stuff like that. So.
So, yeah.
And the eagle, even though it's thought of a big, majestic bird, it'll eat anything. It'll scavenge. It doesn't necessarily care. Most of it'll steal. It's famous for stealing fish from other birds. If a bird's flying by with a fish, he'll run it off and take his fish.
Well, he's a survivor.
Right. So.
And he's a bully, and he's bigger than just about bigger than everybody else. So what are you
Yep.
going to do?
Yep. So we have some eagle etiquette. If you do see a nest, there's a couple things we would like you to do. First off, if it's a brand new nest, let us know about it because sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes these they nest in an area a lot of people don't know about. So just give us a call. Most of the nests we know about, but we always have a few pop up every year.
Yeah.
So if you find a nest, let us know. If there is a nest, back off. There is a federal regulation. You have to be 1,000 yards away
Wow.
from the nest.
Good.
Okay. And there was a couple reasons for that. If the nest is active and there are chicks on it, if eagles can flush if you go too close to the nest. They may leave the nest and leave the young or the eggs by themselves. So
Yeah.
if then they generally lay the eggs in February, March, April. So it's kind of a cold time of year. So the eggs could freeze or be stressed, or the chicks could be stressed. Okay?
Isn't it amazing that they can lay those eggs in February or March, and it's so cold?
Yeah, they have.
And that mama.
Yeah, she's just on top. Well, both of the male and the female will brood it. So there's a brood patch on their belly. It's kind of like an absence of feathers, and so the feathers aren't there, and the skin is there. So the skin will be against the egg, and it just gives it additional warmth.
Wow.
If you looked at the Hayes Eagle cam back in February and March, there was one day where she was sitting on the nest and she was covered in snow.
Oh, that
So-
that was brutal.
Yeah, so they
I
can
did.
adapt. They
I
can
saw
survive.
that, and I felt so bad. But she was so proud and
yeah.
just sitting there.
Yeah,
taking
so
care of my
that's
baby.
been a successful nest. There's another one up in Harmerville. Those are the two active ones in Allegheny County. But there are others in the surrounding counties.
Yeah,
So
there's one at Canonsburg.
Cannonsburg, that's Washington County. There's
Yeah.
some other ones down in Westmoreland County.
Yeah, because I have a friend that lives on the lake, Canonsburg,
Mm-hmm.
and she just gets so annoyed because there's so many people, and she leave them alone.
Yeah, they will. I mean, so far the Cannonsburg nest has been good, but there are issues with people getting too close to any eagle's nest, they may just get up and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Even our officers have to be careful. When the Hayes eagle nest blew down last year,
Yeah.
the tree that it was in fell, nest went over. So we went over the first thing in the morning to make sure the eagles were okay. We went over there, we saw them in a couple minutes, but we backed off real quick because we don't want to be the cause of these of eagles leaving. 'Cause
Leave nature take its
people
course.
enjoy them so much. So
Yeah.
we just stay away from it. We have a website. It's PG. Hold on here. pgc.pa.gov.
This will all be on at the end of my show.
Okay, and it has everything you can think of animals in wild animals in Pennsylvania, and it has a PDF up there that explains eagle etiquette. You know, just stay away. Don't talk real loud. You just give them the respect. And
Just
give them their
sit
space.
and enjoy them.
Exactly. Just enjoy them.
Now, what about if one falls out of the nest?
That happens to all birds, not just not eagles. Those are fledglings, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to fly. They're trying to leave the nest. It's a natural thing where they fall out of the nest. If it falls out of the nest, if you find one, call us, and we'll try to take care of it.
Don't touch it.
Yeah. We have issues like that in downtown Pittsburgh and out at Pitt. There are peregrine falcons out there.
Something.
And every once in a while, we have a call that the one's walking on the sidewalk. In that case, we can take them and put them back up where they were on the building. It's tough when we find an eagle walking around the woods to get it back in the tree.
Yeah.
But give us a call and we will handle it.
Okay, now let's go to the coyotes.
Okay. Coyotes are everywhere.
Have they been everywhere forever?
They really started coming in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And what we have here in Pennsylvania is an eastern coyote. They're not the scrawny little things you see in the western coyote. You see out west and in the cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
The eastern coyote is a much bigger one. It almost looks about the size of a German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
A little stockier because there is wolf in the eastern coyote. There's actually DNA of wolf in there. So that's what makes them big. They are everywhere. They are very smart. They have a big litter of pups every year. They have we have a season on them, and the season is 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Wow. Okay, but because of that, the coyote hunters and the coyote trappers don't make that big of a dent in the population because they are prolific breeders.
Yeah.
And they are scavengers. They'll eat anything. They can accommodate, or they can live anywhere. They're in Bethel. They're in St. Clair. They're
in my
downtown.
backyard.
They're in downtown Pittsburgh. But really, you should just give them the respect. They mostly come out at night. They don't like people. They're very skittish. Again, it all comes down to food. The majority of the cases we go out and say, hey, there's a coyote in my backyard, there's deer in my backyard, whatever, it's because there's a food supply.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is put cat food out, feed the local cats, because that'll bring in everything, okay, raccoons, even bird feeders. The bird feeders, I'm not feeding the coyotes, I'm feeding the birds. Well, when that seed falls on the ground, that attracts not just birds, it attracts mice, which attract fox, who eat the mice, who will attract the coyotes. It'll attract bears. Every once in a while, a bear will come through. Okay.
Oh my.
So all that food. So they're not coming to look at your house. They're coming for the food.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, if there isn't anything for them to eat, they kill rabbits and
Right.
things like
Yep.
that. But after they take that over, then they leave.
Yeah, if there's no food source, they're going to move on. So in the suburbs, there's a lot of rabbits and squirrels and stuff like that. There'll probably always be, and that's fine. That's their food supply. We just don't want to give them an artificial food supply. And if you don't want them on your porch, on your deck, just don't put any food on like that.
Yeah, because it's so, people think it's mean, but it isn't mean. It's kind not to do that to them because they're a wild animal.
Yeah, you don't want to get them habituated to people either.
Exactly.
You don't want them to associate people and food, and that's when any animal will start getting more aggressive.
And it's
Even a deer will do that.
Oh,
People, we've had cases where people were feeding deer, and the deer show up all the time, and they want their food. And when you take the food away, they get upset. And
Yeah.
they get used to it, and
yeah.
then when it causes a lot of trouble.
And then if they have their babies in the spring, you have to watch your dogs. Because if some people let their dogs out in the morning to go potty and they come right back in, or
Right.
they chain them to the back porch so they can go potty. And if the mama's coming through, and if he barks and frightens them, the mama will get upset.
Yeah.
So you have to, when you leave your dogs out in the morning or afternoon or night on a chain, you have to be there.
Yeah, we recommend that. We don't have that many cases of coyotes taking dogs or cats. It can happen, but that's a great recommendation, and that's what we say. You can leave your dog out, and if you have a little thing, let them out, but stay with them.
Yeah.
Because the coyote's not going to... We had one coyote attack a person in Allegheny County last year, and that was rabid. It was a rabid coyote.
Wow.
So it was really the disease that was
They did it.
flipping out
Yeah.
the coyote.
Yeah.
And but that's the only one we've had.
And the deer, the same thing with the deer. If you put your dogs out and the mama's walking through, and she'll go after the dog,
Yeah, especially if she has a fawn. And this is fawn time right now.
and it's not because they're mean or anything. They're just protecting their baby.
Right.
So when you put your dogs out, I'm a dog lover. When you put your dogs out, stay there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
we haven't had, that can happen. We have not had any issues with that. But one of the things I like to say is this is fawn time right now. From Memorial Day until about 4th of July, that's when the does will drop the fawns.
I know.
And we get a lot of calls, hey, there's a fawn in my backyard, and the mother's gone, and it's an orphan, and blah, 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 and they pick it up, and they take it in, or just leave it alone. That's our
mama's there.
recommendation. The mother will go feed during the day, and the fawn has some natural protection in them. They just lay there totally still and blend in,
They do.
and then the mother will be back to take care of it.
I have them down in my backyard, and there's a big forest and hedges, and the mama will stick her head out. She looks all around, and she knows that no one's going to bother her in my yard or anybody's yard. And she brings that baby out and every spring and presents it like, well, here's my baby. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, my Lord. Nobody would ever go near it for a million. Yeah. But she lays it down. And then,
Yeah.
like you said, she feeds and everything. And then when she starts going back, that she's going to go back into the forest, then she'll tap the baby and they go back in again. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah, they're nice to watch, and they're keep the feeders away, and they won't be
Yeah,
that much of an issue.
just let them be wild, and sit on your porch and look down because South Park is over here for me, and it's just so wonderful to watch them. Now, I did have coyotes down in my backyard. I was shocked to death when I saw one, but it seems that I haven't seen it now for over a year, so I think maybe it left.
Could have just moved on.
Yeah. But there is a forest, way down in my
Or
backyard.
or he's there, you just don't see him.
Yeah.
'Cause they're
And
very
foxes
secretive.
are coming back too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing, though, because fox,
I love them.
they eat mice.
Yeah, I
So
love them.
They'll keep your mouse population
Yeah.
down.
But I didn't see them for years and years. And it just seems like now all of a sudden there they are. And owls. You never see owls.
Well, they generally come out at night.
Yeah, but
So-
you hear them hooting.
Yeah, those are great horned owls, the one that
Yeah,
had the big
yeah.
long hoot. But
Yeah.
southwestern Pennsylvania, especially out in the suburbs, we have a ton of wildlife.
Oh, it's
We have
beautiful.
everything except the occasional bear comes through. But other than that, we have everything is thriving. Well, all hawks and owls are protected,
Yeah.
so you can't hunt them or shoot them.
They can hunt you, though, like I was telling you earlier.
But an owl will, even a small dog against an owl. That's another reason. Just don't let your dog out. The great horned owls are pretty big.
Yeah.
And they,
Oh, yeah.
They're a pretty big predator.
Well, the hawks can get them, too. If they're little dogs, they come down,
but
they grab them.
But if you just stay with them, they'll be fine. We have
Yeah.
not had a report of a hawk successfully picking up a dog.
No, kitties, they do.
The
They
only
picked
one,
my brother's cat
the
up.
only one we've had was the Hayes Eagle brought a cat into the nest last year, but we don't know if that was a roadkill cat or somebody's
be,
pet.
yeah.
We don't know.
Never thought of that. Yeah. Well, guess what?
We're out of time.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
That wasn't so bad, huh?
No, listen.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I want to say thank you for
Well-
your time.
Well, thanks for the invite.
Oh, really, you don't know how I appreciate this. This is going to really, I know at home, people are going to understand. Do not feed the wildlife.
Right.
Rule number 1. And if you don't feed them, you won't have a problem.
Right.
Just enjoy them. That's all. And if they eat your bushes and they eat your flowers, just love them because they don't mean to do it on purpose. You know, they're
Yeah,
just.
and we have two really good sources of information. As I mentioned before, we have pgc.pa.gov. That's Pennsylvania Game Commission's website. Is a plethora of information out there on wildlife, on about feeding deer. And there's another good site that's linked off that. It's called wildlifehelp.org. And that is mostly if, hey, I have a raccoon in my attic, what do I do?
Oh,
Or I have a raccoon in my chimney.
yeah.
Generally, the Game Commission does not take care of that. But that wildlifehelp.org, it's a big website. It'll tell you what to do.
There you go. Now
Right.
you're not helpless because we'll have that at the end of the show. But these are places that you can call and receive help. And I want to thank everyone for your kindness. And when I see you in the community and the lovely things that you say to me touch my heart. I'm glad you're learning about dogs and kitty cats and birds and whatever I have on my show. I try to switch around. It's been very important to me to have this show the last 21 years. Very proud of that. But mostly having the wonderful people that we have here in Bethel. Bethel is a very, very precious place. And with the flood that we had, people have come out everywhere to help the people that have barns and horses and things, and families and whatever. Bethel's just a wonderful place to live. Don't forget your humane societies, blankets, towels, sheets, anything you would not give to the homeless, give to the any of them. I like South Hills Rescue. That's my love of my life. But any of the rescue places, they really need, and especially now that it's puppy time and kitten time, they need those things to clean them and for surgery and finding them out and cleaning them up and bathing them. Very, very important. So from my heart, I love you. And thanks from all the tail waggers.